The world is loud, full of distraction, full of pressure, full of people chasing everything and yet finding meaning in nothing. We scroll endlessly, we overthink, we compare, we compete, and at the end of the day, we feel more drained than fulfilled. But what if I told you the antidote to this chaos was written nearly 2,000 years ago? What if I told you the most powerful tools to calm your mind, to discipline your emotions, and to find peace under pressure didn't come from a therapist, a billionaire, or a social media guru, but from a man who ruled the greatest empire on earth and still struggled, just like you? That man was Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, the philosopher king. And his greatest victory wasn't in battle, it was over himself. You see, Marcus didn't live in a golden age of peace. He faced betrayal in his own court. He led troops through plagues and famine. He buried children. He wrote while fighting war after war, sometimes from a battlefield tent. He endured loss, heartbreak, illness, backstabbers, and unimaginable stress. And still, he wrote these words to himself: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That is the heartbeat of Stoicism. And that is what makes Marcus Aurelius more than just a name in history. He is a mirror, showing us what is possible when we choose to be more than our moods, more than our excuses, more than our pain. You see, Marcus didn't write meditations to be admired. He wrote it in private, as a personal guide to stay anchored when everything was falling apart. He wasn't pretending to be wise. He was reminding himself to stay calm, to stay present, to stay noble in a world of chaos. He didn't seek approval. He sought clarity. He didn't react. He reflected. He didn't control others. He mastered his own soul. And that's what this video is about. This isn't philosophy for scholars. This is training for warriors, mental warriors, spiritual warriors, ordinary people like you and me, learning to live on purpose in a world that pushes us to drift. We'll explore how Marcus designed his daily Stoic routine, not as rituals to look wise, but as disciplines to survive and thrive. We'll uncover the Stoic habits he practiced. In the early morning before the sun rose. In the heat of leadership when envy and betrayal tested him. In his quiet moments when grief sat on his chest like a stone. And every night when he reflected not to judge himself, but to return to virtue. These weren't ideas to him. They were anchors, daily reminders of who he chose to be no matter what the world threw at him. And if it worked for a man burdened with the weight of an empire, it can work for us. You don't need a throne. You don't need fame. You don't need to be perfect. What you need is a system, a set of principles that recenter your life, that remind you what really matters, and give you the strength to stand tall when the world bends around you. That's what you're about to receive in this video. This is the Stoicism that works. This is the Emperor's Guide to Bulletproof Serenity. And if you stay with me until the end, you'll walk away with 7 actionable tools straight from the mind of Marcus Aurelius. Tools to quiet the noise, elevate your thinking, and become the kind of person you admire. So now I ask you, are you ready to stop reacting and start leading your life? Are you ready to stop doubting and start rising? Are you ready to stop drifting and start becoming? Then take a breath, center your focus, and let us begin the journey. Before Marcus Aurelius was ever called the philosopher king, he was a man waking each morning to the roar of Rome, a world of ambition, war, betrayal, and uncertainty. But inside him, there was something quieter, yet stronger, a commitment to rise above the noise.
He didn't ask for peace from the world. He learned to summon it from within. This is where the story begins, not with thrones or battles, but with a daily decision to be better, to think clearly, to act rightly, and to endure what must be endured. Stoicism, as Marcus practiced it, was not a theory, it was a survival code, a mental armor forged through relentless self-examination and daily discipline. Each day brought him new trials, and each day he met them not with rage or despair, but with a kind of spiritual fire. He wrote not for applause, he wrote to remember, to remind himself of what truly mattered. In the stillness of his study, he scribbled truths that would outlive empires. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is not just poetic wisdom, it's practical firepower, the kind that builds resilience, clarity, and peace. When everything around you spins out of control, this ancient mindset gives you a foothold. Marcus didn't pretend life was easy. He simply stopped expecting it to be. Instead, he trained like a warrior of the mind. He woke early. He confronted his emotions. He reminded himself that anger, fear, and ego were choices, not fate, and he chose differently. This chapter is about awakening that same fire in you, not by wishing the world was easier, but by becoming stronger, clearer, and more grounded in the middle of the storm. Because serenity isn't what you find, it's what you build, moment by moment, decision by decision. Chapter 2: The Emperor's First Law. Control the inner court. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. Imagine a man surrounded by generals plotting, senators deceiving, and distant wars threatening the borders of an empire. That man is Marcus Aurelius. Yet, instead of being consumed by paranoia or rage, he returns again and again to the fortress within, his inner court. This is the first law of the Emperor's serenity. Protect your inner citadel. No matter how loud the world gets, you must guard the silence inside. Marcus didn't preach escape. He practiced engagement, but never at the expense of his own soul. He understood what we forget, that every day life will test us. A difficult coworker, a sudden loss, an unfair decision. The Stoic doesn't try to stop these storms from forming. They tighten their inner sails and command their own response. Your thoughts, your perceptions, your actions, these are your true estate. Everything else is temporary lease. It's easy to think power lies in external control, in commanding others, in status, in winning the argument. But Marcus, the most powerful man in the world, reminds us, true power is self-mastery. Every morning, he wrote to himself, not to be wise, but to survive. He was reminding his soul, do not waste your energy on what is outside your command. What if you woke up each day and said the same? What if you walked into the chaos of life with the confidence that you already carry the only thing that matters? Not the money, not the title, not the applause, but your inner court, quiet, strong, unshakable. Here's how to live it today. Start your morning with one intention: I will not let the outside disturb the inside. When challenges come, ask yourself, is this mine to control or not? And in the quiet of the evening, write down where you gave away your peace, and how you'll reclaim it tomorrow. This is not philosophy on paper. This is armor for real life. The modern world will try to rent space in your head. The Emperor's law is clear. No one enters the inner court without permission. And so, you become bulletproof. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger, quieter, and far more dangerous to defeat.
Chapter 3. Rule your reactions. Rule your world. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In this world of noise and pressure, of betrayals and burdens, Marcus Aurelius whispers something so powerful, yet so easily overlooked. You are not what happens to you. You are how you choose to respond. Imagine being emperor, not just of Rome, but of your own inner world. That was his secret. That was his daily mission. He woke up each day knowing the chaos would come, that insults might fly, that people would disappoint him, that storms might break loose before the sun rose fully. But before any of that happened, he had already prepared his soul. Marcus wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He trained his mind to see obstacles not as blockades, but as opportunities to deepen his character, refine his will, and master his emotional state. So how do you rule your reactions like Marcus did? You start by recognizing the gap between stimulus and response. That space is where your power lives. When someone mocks you, you pause. When plans fall apart, you breathe. When anger rises, you observe it like a distant storm cloud, not a command you must obey. This is not weakness. This is not passivity. This is the strength of self-governance. Marcus taught that nobody can harm your soul unless you hand them the keys. Not criticism, not betrayal, not even death. His journals reveal how he would reflect. "Today, I shall meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil. But I, who have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, know that no wrong can be done to me unless I allow it." What kind of mindset is that? It's not denial. It's not toxic positivity. It's spiritual resilience. It's a fireproof soul. And that kind of serenity, the kind that can stand tall in the hurricane of life, is not born from reading quotes on a screen. It's built by rehearsing this mindset daily. Try this. Each morning, anticipate difficulty. Expect it like a soldier expects resistance. And then rehearse your response before it happens. Say to yourself, if they insult me today, I will remain grounded. If I fail today, I will study the lesson, not wallow in shame. If the unexpected strikes, I will keep my purpose in focus. This is not just mental training. This is soul conditioning. The Stoics called it premeditatio malorum, premeditating hardship, not to become negative, but to become unbreakable. And here's the deepest truth. You are not a slave to circumstance. You are the sculptor of your response, and your response creates your reality. So if the world around you is chaotic, let your inner world be calm. If life grows loud, let your soul become silent. If others lose their way, let your compass remain true. This is what Marcus knew, and this is what you must now practice, not once, not when convenient, but as a daily act of inner warfare. In your stillness,
you rise. In your restraint, you reign. In your response, you build your empire, not of stone, but of self. This is how you rule your world.
Chapter 4. Master the morning, win the entire day.
When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Marcus Aurelius. The way you rise determines how you stand, and how you stand determines what you conquer. Marcus Aurelius began each day not with rush or distraction, but with clarity. He treated the morning not as a chore, but as a sacred temple, a space where the mind could be strengthened before the storms of power, politics, and pressure invaded. He knew the battle is often won or lost before the first sword is drawn. And in our world today, where people wake up and instantly reach for their phones, drown in headlines, scroll through noise, what happens? Their souls become reactive instead of reflective. Their mornings are hijacked by someone else's urgency, someone else's agenda. But not you, not anymore. Because here's the truth. If you don't master the morning, the day will master you. If you don't center your mind, the world will pull it in 1,000 directions. If you don't choose your values, you will obey someone else's. Marcus began each dawn by writing to himself. He reminded his soul, "Today I will meet people who are rude, dishonest, egotistical, but they are this way because they are ignorant of good and evil. I will not let their confusion disturb my peace." That was his mental armor, his daily briefing. So how can you do the same? Start by designing a morning ritual, not a routine, a ritual. Something sacred, intentional, powerful. Here's a simple system modeled after what Marcus practiced. Step 1. Stillness before stimulation. Before touching your phone, your notifications, or even your to-do list, sit in stillness. Breathe. Be. Reflect. Even for 5 minutes. Let silence meet your soul before the world does. Step 2. Read or reflect on one Stoic thought. Marcus meditated on his own writings. We now call it meditations. You can do the same. Read a single quote. Write your own interpretation. Ask, how will I live this today? For example, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Then ask yourself, how will I live this today? Step 3. Prime your inner warrior. Like an athlete warms up before battle, you must warm up your inner world. Stand tall. Visualize yourself responding with calm, compassion, clarity. Say to yourself, I will not be shaken. Today I will choose virtue over reaction. My peace is non-negotiable. Marcus didn't wait for the storm. He prepared for it, and that's why it didn't break him. The same applies to you. When you wake up with intention, you don't just survive the day, you lead it. You don't just respond to life, you sculpt it. You become proactive, not reactive, centered, not scattered, strong, not shaken. Your mornings become your throne, and from that throne you rule not with noise, but with stillness, not with fear, but with focus. You build a mind that is bulletproof, not because nothing can harm you, but because you've already met yourself in the morning, and you've decided who you will be before the world tries to decide for you. That is mastery. That is serenity. That is the Stoic way. Chapter 5. Turn the obstacle into the path. The Stoic superpower. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius. There comes a moment in every life where the wall feels too high, the weight too heavy, the betrayal too painful, the road too uncertain. And most people, they stop, they retreat, they say, this must be the end. But the Stoics whispered a secret Marcus wrote with his own hand in the middle of wars, political betrayal, and personal loss. What stands in the way becomes the way. That is not just philosophy, that is liberation, that is the alchemy of the soul. Stoicism does not promise a life free of hardship. It promises something far greater, that you will grow because of it, that the very thing designed to break you will instead make you. Imagine you're walking your path, focused, calm, intentional. Suddenly, you hit a wall. You lose a job. Your trust is shattered. Your plans fall apart. You feel lost, heavy, and angry at the world. A voice in your head says, "This is unfair." But Stoicism gives you a different voice, a voice that says, this is the moment I've been training for. This is not the end. This is the start of the path I must walk. Because the obstacle is the test, and the test is the teacher. Marcus faced immense pain. He buried children. He ruled through plague. He was betrayed by those closest to him. And yet, not once did he write, "Why me?" He asked only, "How can I use this?" And that changes everything. So, how do you turn your obstacle into your path? Step 1. Neutralize emotion with reason. Don't let your mind catastrophize. Pause. Observe the problem with clarity, not panic. Ask, what's really happening? Not what I fear, but what is. Step 2. Shift from complaint to command. Instead of saying, "This is bad," ask, "What part of me can this strengthen? What virtue does this pain call forth?" Is it patience? Discipline? Forgiveness? Focus? Let your obstacle become your gym. Step 3. Take one action, no matter how small. Even if all you can do is breathe, even if all you can do is stand, take that step. Because action defeats fear. Action builds momentum, and momentum becomes transformation. This is the Stoic miracle. What blocks the way becomes your new direction. What tries to destroy you becomes the fire that forges you. So, when the world throws obstacles, don't ask to be rescued. Ask to be revealed. Because pain doesn't make you weak. Avoiding pain does. Difficulty doesn't break you. Resisting growth does. What if every obstacle is a mirror showing you your untrained potential? What if every hardship is not punishment, but preparation? You become a warrior, not because you've never fallen, but because you always rise, stronger, wiser, and more determined. The path is not clear because it's easy. The path is clear because it's hard. And that's how you know it's yours. Chapter 6. Control the inner theater. Master the stories you tell yourself. If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your judgment about it. And it is in your power to wipe out this judgment now. Marcus Aurelius. There is a stage inside your mind, And every single day, a play is unfolding, a drama, a dialogue, a whisper. And you are the playwright. Not your past, not your pain, you. Most people live unaware of this inner theater. They don't realize that the voice narrating their every move, the voice saying, "You're not good enough, this is too hard, you always fail," isn't the voice of truth. It's the voice of habit, the voice of fear, the voice that was never questioned. But Marcus Aurelius, in the quiet of his chambers, with wars raging around him, made a vow: "I will master the narrative. I will not let false stories determine my fate." That is Stoic power. Why mastering your thoughts is everything? Because you don't see the world as it is. You see the world through the lens of your interpretation. An insult? It's just sound until you label it disrespect. A delay? It's just time until you label it waste. A failure? It's just a result until you label it proof I'm not good enough. So the real battlefield is not outside of you. It's within. It's in the stories you tell. It's in the labels you assign. It's in the meaning you create. How to control your inner theater? Step 1. Catch the narrative in real time. When something hard happens, don't react. Pause. Ask yourself, what am I telling myself right now? Is this story helpful or harmful? Name it. Call it out. Don't be a slave to your thoughts. Be their observer. Step 2. Reframe the frame. Stoics practiced cognitive reframing centuries before modern psychology gave it a name. They would ask, how can this experience serve me? What virtue can I practice right now? What would a wise person think? Suddenly, the same hardship becomes a training ground. The same pain becomes purpose. Step 3. Choose the stronger story. Every moment offers two stories. One of fear, one of faith. Fear says, this is too much. Faith says, I've survived worse. Fear says, I'm broken. Faith says, I'm becoming. Fear says, why is this happening to me? Faith says, this is happening for me. Choose the stronger story. Choose the story that calls forth your power, not your pity. This is not spiritual fluff. This is mental training. This is emotional jujitsu. To wake up each day and say, I will not let the past define me. I will not let others narrate my life. I will write my story, page by page, with courage. Marcus Aurelius rewrote his story daily, not because he had it easy, but because he refused to be ruled by weakness, fear, or lies. And now, it's your turn. You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need permission. You just need a decision that your inner world will be your masterpiece. And from that, all outer strength flows. Chapter 7. Master morning rituals. Set the tone of the warrior. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Marcus Aurelius. Every morning, you are reborn. Before the world demands your attention, before the chaos, the notifications, the pressure, the doubt, there is a sacred window, a small crack in time where you choose who you will be today. And in that moment, the Stoic warrior is forged, not by swords, not by shouting affirmations into the mirror, but by deliberate alignment with virtue, purpose, and inner peace. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of the most powerful empire on earth, didn't start his day with indulgence. He began with reflection. His mornings were not reactive, but intentional. Why? Because he knew, if you do not command the morning, the day will command you. The Stoic Morning Blueprint. Let's break it down into the key morning elements of a Stoic warrior. Simple, repeatable, powerful. 1. Wake early. Beat the mind to the battlefield. Marcus writes, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being." You don't wake early to punish yourself. You wake early to reclaim your mind before the world gets to it. In the silence of the early hour, distractions sleep. You become most powerful when others are still asleep to their purpose. 2. Practice negative visualization. The Stoics called it premeditatio malorum, premeditating misfortune. In the morning, don't expect a perfect day. Expect interruptions. Expect delays. Expect people to frustrate you. And then decide in advance how you will respond. Today, I may meet with ingratitude, arrogance, deceit, but I will meet them with calm, with patience, with self-control. This practice immunizes your soul. You become unshakable, not because life is easy, but because you've mentally rehearsed being strong. 3. Anchor yourself in virtue. The Stoic doesn't chase moods, he chases values. So ask yourself, what virtue will I embody today? Will I lead with courage? Will I act with justice? Will I speak with wisdom? This is your compass, your daily shield. Let virtue, not emotion, guide your schedule. 4. Short self-writing practice, inspired by Marcus. Write just one paragraph, not for the world, for your soul. What am I grateful for? What do I need to remember today? What kind of person will I be under pressure? You don't need pages, just presence. Journaling is not performance, it's preparation. Why morning rituals matter? Because the world is noisy. And if you do not set your tone first, someone else will set it for you. You'll scroll, you'll compare, you'll react, and you'll wonder by evening why you feel so off-center. But the Stoic doesn't allow this. He enters the day as a warrior, not a wanderer. The morning is not a passive experience. It is a ceremony of command, a ritual of remembering. I am not my fears. I am not my doubts. I am the one who chooses what this day will become. Marcus didn't have a perfect life. He had wars, betrayals, plagues, sickness. But his mornings gave him something few men ever master: control of himself. And that is the ultimate freedom.
Chapter 8. The final lesson: lead yourself first. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. At the end of every Stoic teaching, at the conclusion of every meditation, there is one final, unrelenting truth. You must become your own leader, not a follower of trends, not a prisoner of approval, not a mirror for someone else's expectations, but the commander of your own soul. Because all Stoic power, all their serenity, courage, and strength flows from this central vow: I will lead myself. The Emperor's final wisdom. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man of his age, but he never acted like a king. He acted like a student of virtue, of hardship, of the soul. He knew what we often forget. True leadership doesn't begin with others, it begins within. And this is where many people lose themselves. They want to fix the world, but they can't fix their habits. They want to inspire others, but they crumble under judgment. They want to lead, but they've never taken full command of themselves. That's why Stoicism isn't just philosophy. It's a discipline, a system of self-rule. And in Marcus's case, it was the Emperor's secret code for clarity in chaos. So, what does it mean to lead yourself? It means this: you don't need to be perfect. You need to be present and consistent in your character. You lead yourself when you stop letting moods dictate your morals. You decide that action matters more than how you feel. You choose to show up even when no one's watching. You don't need applause to stay on the path, because the Stoic doesn't wait for life to crown them with confidence. He earns it by honoring discipline when it's inconvenient. That's the real battlefield. And when you win there, no external storm can shake you. The final misconception. Many think Stoicism is about suppressing emotions. It isn't. It's about placing them in the right order. So your values, not your reactions, lead the charge. Marcus felt grief. He knew loss, betrayal, heartbreak, but he didn't let pain shape his principles. He knew, if I am not the captain of my mind, then I am a slave to the sea. Make this your mission. Let this be your vow, that no matter the chaos around you, you will be calm within. That no matter what others say or do, you will return to virtue. That when others fold, flinch, or falter, you will stand up with composure and strength. Because your calmness is not weakness, it is earned clarity. And your discipline is not dull, it is divine. Final words from the Emperor. Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always look. You don't need the perfect conditions. You don't need external validation. You need only one thing: the decision to rule your inner world. And from there, greatness becomes inevitable.
In conclusion, it is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. Marcus Aurelius. So now, you've walked beside the Emperor. You've seen the mind of Marcus Aurelius, not just a ruler of empires, but a ruler of himself. You've witnessed how he endured betrayals, heartbreak, loss, and relentless pressure with quiet strength. And if you've made it here, one truth should now ring louder than all. Stoicism is not just a theory. It is a daily, repeatable system, a code of clarity, a compass for modern chaos, and it works when you do. The true meaning of being Stoic today. Being Stoic in today's world doesn't mean being emotionless. It means being anchored. When society promotes outrage, you respond with calm. When people chase ease, you seek growth.
When the world tells you to be reactive, you choose to be resolute. This is the path Marcus walked. Not as a king desperate for power, but as a man desperate to remain good, even in a world gone mad. And now, it's your turn. Will you choose to be more? Ask yourself now, will you let your thoughts run wild? Or will you discipline them like a soldier? Will you wait for confidence, or build it action by action? Will you react to life, or respond with wisdom and calm? Because if Marcus Aurelius could do it, surrounded by treachery, war, and disease, then what excuse do we have? The truth is, your life is waiting, but only if you choose to show up as the Stoic within. Here's your next step. You've just absorbed timeless power, but knowledge without action is empty. So here's what you do today. Choose one Stoic practice from this video, just one. Apply it consistently, morning or night. Reflect on what changes, internally then externally. Watch your character evolve, and then come back and watch this video again, because with each return, you'll hear something deeper. You'll see something clearer. You will become something greater. Not overnight, but certainly. Support the mission. If this video moved you, if it reminded you of your true strength, then do one more thing. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel. Share it with someone who's fighting a silent battle, because everyone, yes, everyone, needs a reminder. You can train your mind, you can rule your inner world, and you can be more. Not someday, but now.